Hello, everybody. This is Ski Talk with Tim and Tony. I'm Tony. That's Tim over there in that bright spider jacket. And today, Tim is going to interview me. So, whenever you're ready, Tim, take it away.
Tell us who introduced you to skiing.
My father was the one that taught me and my brother how to ski. So my father took up skiing toward the end of World War II. He was in Germany. He always liked outside, being outside and stuff like that. He used to ice skate a lot. So he took up skiing in Germany. I think he was 19 or something, 19, 20, something like that. And he fell in love with the sport. So when I was born, I think I was 5. He introduced me to the sport, and then when my younger brother was able, he introduced my younger brother Kerwin to the sport, and we both fell in love with the sport. And I think my father was really happy because all that time he skied by himself a lot. So I think he was happy that both my brother and I took to the sport, and then he had somebody to ski with. And that was, man, that seems like so long ago. I can't remember the date, but I know it was like the late 60s.
And where were you living at the time?
I was living in Chicago. So, there's no mountains or anything like that, but there was a place about an hour from Chicago in Wisconsin called Wilmot Mountain. And that's where I learned how to ski.
And describe it. I mean, it like you said, not really mountains. I mean, not like you would think of, Mammoth or Big Bear or those kind of places.
To me, it was a big ski resort. So back then they had a combination of chairlifts, rope tows, and T-bar, and I forgot what the other one's called with the disc, Poma. Is it a Poma or something like that? Pomalus. So, they had a combination of that. The It was all man-made hills. So 400 feet or something like that. You take about like their black diamond runs, you take about 3 turns and you're down at the bottom. It was just real steep and stuff like that. So, but back then, I think half the lifts when I started were chair lifts. But I remember, back then you had to have leather gloves, and I had mittens. They were leather in order to use the rope tow. Otherwise, the other type of gloves, it would just slip. You couldn't grasp onto the rope, and it would just tear those type of gloves up. But yeah, Wilmot Mountain, and it still exists. And I think, and I could be wrong on this, I think Wilmot was one of the first ski resorts to put in snowmaking. And when they put in the snowmaking, it really helped them a lot extend their season because there was they didn't get a lot of snow. It was cold and stuff like that, but then they were able to open and they just had to rely on the weather, and most of the time was cold enough to make snow.
So you're living in Chicago, late 60s. Was it common in your neighborhood to be skiing?
Oh, not at all, not at all. In my neighborhood in Chicago, where we were probably, well, not probably, we were the only family that skied. And so when my father, he had the ski racks and all that. So when we would come back from skiing, a lot of people come up to us. They knew nothing about skiing. And they were like, "What is that on top of your car? Where are you guys going?" And all that kind of stuff. So nobody in my neighborhood skied. We were the only ones. And we would get up like super early in the morning, and because my father had weekends off, so that's when we did our skiing. And Wilmot had night skiing also, so we did a lot of night skiing, and it was super cold. I mean, it was below zero and stuff like that. But I remember we would go inside the lodge, thaw out, and thawing out was painful. And then, after we warmed up, it was a big fire pit inside the lodge. We'd go back out and ski some more. And father would say, "Hey, are you okay?" I go, "Yeah, let's go do it." And then we just come back in, go through the pain again, and then go back out. So, and I think back then, I think for me it was $2.50 for a lift ticket and $5 from my father. Yeah.
So fast forward, you came out west, I think, for college, right? Where did you go?
Well, I was in when we left Chicago. When I left Chicago, I went to Utica, New York, and I think I was in seventh, eighth grade, or something like that. And Utica is about the size of Riverside, California. So about 40 miles from Syracuse. And Utica's known for getting a lot of snow. So that's where I really got into skiing a lot, where I didn't have to rely on somebody to take me, like my father, because he was working so much. And plus, he stayed in Chicago. So I was living with my grandparents. But they had these programs in high school, and they would send you up. My PE class was skiing at one time, and they had this decent, a decent ski resort right in the city of Utica, and it was called, I think it was called the Parkway or something like that. So I used to go up there all the time and just ski all day, well, pretty much all day and night because they had night skiing. So I skied a lot in Utica, and then from Utica, when I was, I think, my sophomore year in high school, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. And all I knew about Phoenix, Arizona was that it was hot. So I like, damn, where am I going to ski and all that kind of stuff? Not knowing that they had mountains in Arizona about 2 hours away. There's a place called Snowbow right outside of Flagstaff. And then there's the White Mountains in Arizona, which is a little further, like a 4 hour drive. And there's a place called Sunrise. And Sunrise is on Indian reservation, so it was operated by the Indians, and I forgot what tribe it was. But it's a nice ski resort. It's bigger than Snowbowl as far as runs and lifts and all that kind of stuff. I think they just need to pour some more money into it, and just make it a nicer place. Um, it just was when I was there. It was somewhat poorly run. I remember I was there and they decided they wanted to close down at 1 o'clock, so they just closed the place down. So people were pissed off. And that was the last time I went there. I was like, damn, I drove all this way and he wants to go. Because I asked, why are you closing down? Well, I'm tired. I'm going home. And just shut the lifts down. So anyway, that was my experience in Arizona. And then I went to a Warren Miller movie at Arizona State. They showed it at Arizona State, and Warren Miller was there narrating his movie, and they were showcasing Mammoth. And I like, okay, that's next door, California. So I bought a new car and I drove to Mammoth one weekend and fell in love with Mammoth Mountain, and that was back in the '80s.
How long of a drive was that?
I think it took me 11, 12 hours to drive it. And I remember one of the I think it was Miller was sponsoring ski racing, and Canyon Lodge was kind of new, and that's where all the partying was. And they had a big celebration and a lot of partying and all this kind of stuff. So I went that weekend and just fell in love with Mammoth. And that was before the village. That was before the new chairlifts they have in there, the high speed chairlifts and all that kind of stuff. So, and what got me, I saw they were Scott Schmidt was the big skier in the Warren Miller movie, and he was skiing off Cornice, and they were showing that a lot. Where before they groomed it, then they didn't groom it, so you had to take this jump, and it's steep and stuff. So I got to go there and ski that. So that's what made me, go check out Mammoth.
So your dad turned you on to skiing. How many people did you introduce to skiing?
I've introduced a lot of people to skiing. I'm always trying to get people to go, give it a try. Um, I don't know how many, but I do get on people's nerves because I'm always trying to get them to go skiing. Um, I would say between my friends, some family members, over 50 people.
What I know you've done some international skiing. What give us an idea of places that you've skied?
I think I skied in Europe 3 times. First time we went to Chamonix and we did a Club Med. And so, if you're not familiar with Club Med, it's like all inclusive. So you stay at their resort and it includes dinner, lunch, breakfast. It includes entertainment. They have parties and all that kind of stuff. So, and it was right next to the ski area, and so you go skiing, and um, they would bring lunch to the mountain, which was uh, which was very nice because it was a really really nice lunch. And so we skied Chamonix, we skied France when they had the Olympics. So we were there the day after the Olympics. I think our base was La Plana. We went to Val d'Isere, we went to Tignes and some other places. And skiing in Europe is really different than skiing here in the United States. And one thing I remember about skiing in Europe is like here in the States, the lines are kind of organized. Over there, it wasn't, I mean, it was like a mass of people trying to get in this little space. And we were looking at each other like we've been in line for like 10 minutes and we're kind of in the same spot. And we were like, how come we're not moving? Well, we're too nice. You got to kind of bogart to get up there. So it took us a day or two to, get with the program. And then we start, okay, let's bogart and get up here. And the other thing I noticed about Europe, skiing in Europe, when I was there, I don't know if it's changed, they didn't have a lot of like signage. And skiing in Europe, I mean, these places are huge. And then we're in a totally different town and stuff. And like, where are we? So, and I don't remember seeing trail maps and stuff like that. And I remember I think we were in Switzerland. Yeah, we were in Switzerland. And a storm came out of nowhere. And we were at the top. You take a train, you take a chair, but you got to take this train and all this kind of stuff to get up to the top. And it was me, my uncle Wayne, my cousin Lisa, my new wife Sia, and her sister. And I told Wayne, my wife and her sister are kind of low intermediate skiers. So we need to go someplace, they can handle. So he had been there before. So he took us all the way to the top and we're skiing down this double black diamond run. And I was so upset with him. But anyway, um, the storm came over and it was just total whiteout. Just total whiteout. And fortunately, I told my wife and her sister, hey, just take the train back down and we'll meet you down. So I took them back in, got them on the train, and then it was me, Wayne, and Lisa, and total whiteout. And what saved us was that I heard the whistle of the train. So I followed that sound because you couldn't see. And Lisa didn't have her goggles, or she lost her goggles or something. So I had to kind of hold her, and we went toward that sound, and there was the train station, another train station. Because if we start, ski down a little bit, we got on the train, and guess who was sitting there asking us, "Hey, what's wrong with you guys?" It was my wife and her sister. They said, they said, "You guys look like you died or something." Well, we actually thought that was it, that we're going to die on that mountain. So, and that was back in the 80s.
Well, I know you still carry on the whole family tradition. We just went up with your cousin Lisa and Mark and Matthew, uh, and it was a good trip. It was fun. So
Yeah, we went to Mammoth a couple of weeks ago, right? And so Lisa, on the first day of the last run, falls and gets hurt. And I remember on that run, I was asking you, I said, I think I told you, why don't you go ahead and lead the way and I come up the back, stay behind. And you said, no, you lead the way and you stay behind and follow. And then Lisa fell and you were stuck with her trying to help her get down the mountain. So, but that was a good trip. I've been trying to get the family to go to Mammoth for, man, I mean, years and years trying to get them to go to Mammoth. And, you know, the first year that everybody was supposed to go and they came out, we were driving up to Mammoth and we were just outside of Bishop, and somebody from Mammoth called. Well, actually, the resort we were staying at, the condo, called and said Mammoth has shut down their operation because of COVID. I'm like, man, so we had to turn around and go back. And then the next time I got them to come out last year, and that's when we got up there again, and we actually made it to Mammoth, but it was too much snow.
yeah, that was crazy. We were there for what 2 or 3 days and couldn't ski the whole time.
Yeah, we couldn't ski, so we decided to leave early. And so this time, a couple of weeks ago, they had rain checks on their lift tickets and stuff. So they decided, hey, we're going to give Mammoth one more try. So they came out, and everybody really liked the resort. So I think they'll come back out and ski Mammoth again. We did go over to June, but the line was too long at the bottom of the mountain and looked like it would have looked like a Disneyland line. And so we decided, let's just go on the Mammoth. So, but I was happy that they liked the ski resort Mammoth and they would come back.
Well, for those of you out there that are watching, if you like our podcast, please follow us and/or just like it. And we hope we brought you some information that'll help you out a little bit.
Again, I want to thank you guys for checking us out on Ski Talk with Tim and Tony. And until next time, we'll see you on the slopes. See ya.